Hi teachers, welcome to our weekly lessons. So today I want to talk a little bit about your struggling writers. You all have them. Writers who simply can't get off the mark, who really struggle when it comes time to put some words on the paper. During my time in the classroom, I've met a lot of struggling writers. Those are the ones who after about 5 minutes raise their hand and they say, "I'm done." What do we do with students who really do in fact struggle, who just don't know what to put down? I have found that there are some real commonalities in my struggling writers. So over the course of my career, here's what I found. First of all struggling writers fail to plan. What happens is they don't have a long-term vision for what it is they want to write, so they write what they think they have in their mind, and then they are in fact done, because they don't know where to go next. So the very first thing that I have found that I had to do with my strugglers was to teach them how to plan. Not only how to plan, but what a good plan looked like. So, before I ever allowed them to put the pencil to the paper, we spent time just planning stories, planning expository work, and making sure that they knew that there was a good expansion for that particular piece of writing that they were going to be doing. And even when they had written for about 5 minutes and said, "I'm done," I asked them, go back to that plan. Did you really include everything? And of course, most of the time they had not. So the very first tip is this: spend time planning. And as a matter of fact, I would spend time planning and not even write that particular story or that particular piece. Sometimes we just learned how to plan. The second thing that I found that all struggling writers do, kind of a commonality, is that they don't understand the importance of any of the details. So when you teach them how to elaborate, everything holds equal importance to them. They don't understand how to choose an element and elaborate on a specific part of either a story or a piece of exposition. So once again, before you teach them how to elaborate, teach them what to elaborate on. So in narrative writing, that would include either a character, a setting, or an object. Identify and isolate that element with students, and then teach them how to elaborate using their 5 senses. In expository writing, it would be a detail. Most of my strugglers created expository writing that was very list-like. Even though there might be separate sentences, each separate sentence basically had the name of a detail. They didn't go beyond that. So I had to teach them how to underline that detail and then how to elaborate on that detail using the productive questions. What does it look like? Meaning, use your 5 senses. And why is that important? Meaning, explain yourself. The third commonality that I found in all of my struggling writers is that they had no idea how to deconstruct text. And here's what I mean. I used to think that my best readers were my best writers, but here's what I really found. It really is the fact that my best writers are my best readers, and it's because they understand text using their author's eyes. They can deconstruct a piece of writing, understand it at its very elemental levels, understand what the author did to create it, and then emulate that. My struggling writers had no idea how to do that. They couldn't read text and really understand it from an author's point of view. So they would just write whatever came out of their minds. I need to teach them how to deconstruct that text as a reader before becoming the writer. So they need to look for elements. If they're reading a story, they need to know what those elements are. Where does the author include action? Maybe is there a little dialogue? And what's the purpose of each of those elements of that text? That's how they then become much more successful as writers. So, 3 quick tips. No fast fixes. I wish I could click my fingers and say it's going to be magical for you. But what I'm going to say is this. These 3 very quick tips will help your struggling writers in the long term become much more successful.